All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town. Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
What was that ruckus?
What ruckus?
I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Describe the ruckus, sir.
Does this mean we're not friends anymore? Not me. I'm in my prime. You're out of your mind. Ain't it cool?
First you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me. Blow. Good. Bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
What's up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with your Military Radio podcast with
and DJ Neko.
Yeah, I was getting there. She has to insert herself into this. We're doing another movie review, movie. And this time we went to see 2025's Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas, Angelica Houston, Gabriel Byrne, Lance Reddick, Norman Reedus, Ian McShane.
That was Gabriel Byrne.
Keanu Reeves reprising his role as John Wick, because this is all part of the
Okay,
John
so make sure you put spoiler alert.
I don't know if we're going to try not to, because the movie just came out. So we're going to try to avoid it a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't know if people knew that. Well, I guess he's on the fucking thing. So
well, the trailer shows him too.
Okay.
So you never saw the trailer.
I never saw the trailer. I went into this completely blind. I did not know what the movie was going to entail. I did not know what was going on. So sometimes I like that, because you go into some movies with like expectations. I went in with zero expectations. So
yeah, this is a part of the John Wick world. They're starting to do this. We know that they're also going to be doing one with Donnie Yen's character from John Wick 4. They're going to be spinning off of that one as well. This one takes place between John Wick 3 and John Wick 4. So there is a moment that's kind of a flashback to when John Wick shows up at the director of the Ruska Roma. It's a organization of ballerina assassins. So the ballerinas are kind of like these props that they do teach dance for and stuff like that. And I think part of it's to kind of just give them a sense of grace. Also helps with their bodies in terms of the assassinations that they take place across the world. So it's fit for the girls. They fight, they practice, and they do ballerina to make them more graceful. Also give them other identities that they can use throughout their life in the world. So Ana de Armas is Eve Macaro, who at a young age of probably 10 or 11, I think, she's with her father, and they seem to be on the run or in hiding. But even though he's got like some bodyguards at his house or wherever he's at, and really the premise is he's on the run. They are part of this other faction of assassins that are more rogue-like. They just kind of do it for sport. It's not really for any kind of organization, but they've been around for a very long time, and it's like a cult. So
it's called The Cult.
Yeah, the cult is led by Gabriel Byrne's character, Chancellor, and they basically raise kids young to be a part of this cult, to be assassins and everything. So this is you'll find something very interesting about this film, especially the actual location of where they live. It reminded me so much of like Hot Fuzz, where the most normal people can be very deadly. But Eve is there with her father, very young, and they get attacked by some assassins from this cult. They're coming to reclaim the daughter because that's again they kind of kidnap youngsters and they raise them to be the next generation of this clan. They really take it seriously. It definitely is a cult.
It's really odd because like you understand the Ruska Roma. You understand, I mean, like the purpose. They're assassins. They're either assassins for hire. They're either trying to fulfill contracts or whatever. However, the cult, it's just like you don't even there's no like rhyme or reason. They're just in this cult, like in this snowy mountain area. They all fight. They all have that X on their wrist.
Yeah, that's a big factor because as when she was younger, her dad ends up, dying because of some wounds. But she notices on some of the guys that he killed because he is trained assassin as well.
By the Ruskaruma.
Right. Well, no,
he was in the Ruskaruma, and
well, they're apparently outcasts from that. Because,
because he ran with Eve.
Right.
And because of that, that is like why they killed the wife, because they were all trying to escape the cult.
Exactly.
But Javier was part of the Ruskaroma. That was the whole idea of taking her and to the Ruskaroma.
Right. But the Ruskarova is part of the organization of the Continental and all the assassins that
and you heard
thing.
You heard the Chancellor at the beginning. It's like we let an outsider in, meaning him.
Yeah.
And then nobody can ever leave, and
it's very they just, and really the funny thing is they only really care about the youngsters. They will kill the parents or whoever's running. They don't care about that part of it. It's like, you don't tell about us, but we're going to take your kids. And so that's pretty much what Eve's father was protecting her from, because they are very, it's just like the berserkers. Like they don't have a real purpose. It's all sport for them.
It's weird. That's what I mean. Like there's nothing about them. I don't know if they're even allowed to do contracts the way that, because they were the ones who were putting contracts on people trying to escape.
Right. And so anyway, her father ends up passing, and she still manages to because she's at a hospital. She somehow obviously gets out. And this is when Ian McShane's character, I'm trying to remember his name here real fast, Winston Scott. So he comes and he's like, he finds her and he talks to her, and he knew her father and mother, and he takes her in. Basically, says he takes her to the Ruskaroma and says, you'll be able to talk to them and see what you want to do with your future. And really, her father didn't really want her to be a part of this world. Like he was trying to give her a normal life. But now,
because she wanted to be a dancer,
right? But like now it's like, she has this revenge factor, of course, anger, because she's old enough to understand death and all that. So, but she goes in and she decides she's going to be an assassin for the Ruskaroma, and she goes through her training rituals and stuff like that. And it's pretty good backstory. One thing that Neko pointed out that I thought was really good is the way that they treat Anna in this film in terms of her character is great, because they don't automatically just make her the best fucking thing on the planet. Like she really struggles in this, and it's really nice blend of, you watch John Wick and he's just a real big badass. He's a guy, he's masculine, he does this and this, and she's the feminine part. But she, and again Neko mentioned it, like there's points in this film where Eve has to kind of use her brain more to counteract the the power difference between the men that she's fighting.
She fights with a lot of leverage.
Yeah.
Like the choreography was great. When she's training, that's what one of her trainers said. She's like,
Fight like a girl.
Fight like a girl.
Yeah.
When you're out there are no rules, and she's, fighting with a male, sparring partner, and he's beating the shit out of her. So she decides to just like kick him in the balls and then take him down. And
Yep.
that's, I really liked a lot of what she did. She's a smaller woman, and you see like these men, when she gets them, she uses a lot of leverage, like to break their arms and, wound them in a way that's going to give her the advantage. She doesn't go right for like, oh, I'm going to just like beat the shit out of you.
Turning point for her, because when her trainer tells her this, it gives her the advantage, and she was struggling. Now she's like, she understands that, okay, yeah, I do have to fight differently in order to overcome these obstacles. And it works throughout the film because she has to keep adjusting herself.
And she's smart.
Yeah.
She finds weapons and uses them to her advantage. She finds things and knows what to like. She's like, all right, I am going to be, because she's small, she can hide better. She can be quicker. She can, if the opponent is coming around the corner, she knows how to like listen for them and stay out of sight so that she can surprise them. And that, I really like that, because, there's a lot of movies that have strong women, which is great. I love that. But half the time you don't believe it, because you're like, there's no way that this woman is just going to easily beat this guy.
Yeah.
But they show how she uses her skills, and the fight choreography was fantastic in this movie. I mean, like, so many fights. My biggest complaint, though, I said is the movie is way too long, because there are a lot of fighters, and they really wanted to showcase everybody's specialty. Whatever, they could have trimmed up these fight scenes quite a bit. They just kept going on.
Well, they were trying to just fill it up a little bit.
I
like, we agreed that like which, even though the flamethrower scene is a really cool option and cool optic for her, it went on way too long. Like, that one kind of dragged a little bit. It's like, okay, we get it, you can burn some guys pretty good. The weapons themselves are cool as shit, but it did kind of drag on a little bit in that section. But it didn't hurt the film a lot for me, so I'm still okay with that. But obviously, again, she's training. She's going on her first run where she's protecting another girl, and gets into a fight inside the club or whatever it is. And again, we see where she's not totally dominating. She's kind of getting her ass kicked a little bit here and there. But again, she finds ways to overcome these things. And she clearly, again, I love the side shooting with the gun. That's very much a John Wick thing that you kind of see with the assassins. So it's consistent in terms of how they present these assassins and how they're trained. But then, again, she comes across somebody who has that mark. And that's what starts this whole, like, okay,
I remember this
before. I've seen this before.
Yeah, because it was out of nowhere. As she was leaving a job, this person comes out of nowhere after her.
Yeah.
And then she cuts off the hand, takes it, and is like, what is this?
Didn't even take it. You could have just took a picture, but she's like, cuts the hand off and takes it to the director. Lead director. And of course, but this makes the movie interesting, because the director's like, well, there's a secret society of former assassins that we have a truce or an understanding. We don't get in each other's way. We just stay out of each other's way. But obviously Eve has an issue with that, because that's the people that killed her dad. And the funny thing, director knows this. Director knows this directly. Director knows her history, where she comes from, but hasn't really explained it to her. So this kind of bothers Eve. So she decides she's going to kind of go do stuff on her own, which puts her at odds with the director and the Roscaroma, because now she has to decide whether to keep Eve as part of them, or, basically ostracize her from the group. This is something that happened to John Wick throughout his series, is that he did a lot of things that were both for survival, but also because revenge, as well as, hey, I hear you.
You just been fed. I don't know why you mew.
But so she starts to go on a hunt, and again, it's a little bit tougher for her too, because John might have fought like maybe a few mobsters here and there. She's taken on an entire cult that has an entire town built. Like, they have a lot of fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been around for like 1,000 years, apparently, this particular group. So.
And the thing is, for me, like, again, I don't get the cult. Like, I don't know what their purpose is. I don't know anything. Like, what's the purpose of the cult?
There is one aspect that we come across that I really enjoyed but hated also, was one of these culters was actually her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked to seen a little more from that angle with the sister, but that was not meant to be. But again, like, it's a nice twist in there with that. Something that was kind of mentioned a little bit earlier in the film when she was young with her dad, but ultimately she goes after, and then of course, because she's tracking down this cult, and they understand who she is and everything now too, because they start learning about her, because she comes across Norman Reedus' character, who's also trying to hide his daughter from. He's apparently the chancellor's son, and so his granddaughter is with Norman Reedus' character. Hey, and so he's holed up in a hotel, one of the Continentals. I forget what country.
In Prague.
Prague, yeah. So she's gonna go and try to like talk to him or kill him, whatever happens. Even though that's a big no-no with the Continentals. But at the same time, there's this other group, including her sister, waiting in the lobby there because
he has a bounty on him.
Right. So.
But the rule: there's no killing in the Continental.
No, can't do any killing in the Continental.
No business in the Continental.
Yep. So we have a bunch of stuff going on with that, and eventually the young girl gets taken anyway by the cult, and so she kind of makes it her duty to go hunt them down. But now, because she's doing all this, she's got a target on her back. There's a bounty on her. And basically, the director makes a call, and who you got to call when you want something to get done right? It's going to be John Wick. So Wick is now on the trail of Eve Macaro. Now, you kind of know, just because if you ever kept up with the John Wick stuff, you know how John works and how he looks at this entire situation. He knows it's a job. He also understands that, there's a lot of shady, and it's not black and white. So he's kind of a very understanding killer. He's not someone just going to come in and take the money. So when he comes across her, it's like 11:30 at night. He's like, you got till midnight. Get your shit done, or I'm coming back and finishing this. And she eventually does, and that kind of leads towards the end of the film. But I really enjoyed this a lot. There hasn't been a lot of great movies this year, kind of like with 2024. So my list probably won't be super big unless all of a sudden we start going on a run of really great shit.
We're gonna have to check out some stuff that they're.
Spinner, I still have to check out. There's a lot of people that says that's really great. So.
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on TV, like straight to streaming, that we have to check out too.
But if you had to, Neko, what would you rate Ballerina?
I did not hate it, like I said, but you know how I am, where editing is truly a gift in movies, because for the longest time with Brotherhood of the Wolf, I liked it, but then it just, same thing, like the fight scenes, it just kept going on and on and on, and then like you were like, oh, they have the extended cut, and then that movie just kept going on and on and on, and I just like could not stand the movie for the longest time. This was not quite as egregious as Brotherhood of the Wolf with the fight scenes. However, I feel like if they would have cut the movie down a good 15 minutes, I would have liked it better. That being said, I love the fight choreography. I love the story because, I love ballerinas, and I love she had this little like toy, and it was like a music box that it was played Swan Lake, and like the little ballerina turned. And I loved that part when she finally realizes like where it came from, when they were in that mountain range. But I think this is a solid 8 out of 10. I did not hate it at all. And I would watch it again.
Keep in mind also, she's only seen the first John Wick film. She hasn't seen the rest, so she doesn't have like
I don't have like the full backstory of like what this part. But for me, like I said, you don't need to see it. I went in with no expectations. Yeah. I enjoyed.
Yeah, you can't technically watch this on your own.
You don't even need to see John Wick to see this. It's its own story.
They do explain who John is through mythology with the Russian or the so.
He's the Baba Yaga.
It's him. Like even one of the cultists, when he shows it, because he actually starts killing some of them too. They're like, one of the guys like, yeah, this is not good. This guy,
it's him.
And then she's like, just one man, and that person gets shot in the head like immediately. So it's like, yeah, it's like you're already facing this woman that's full of vengeance, but then she's got Baba Yaga there. It's like, damn, that's a heavy thing to deal with. So yeah, so for me, I really, really enjoyed this. I kind of knew I would going. I love the John Wick world. I can't wait for the next expansion on it with the Donnie Yen stuff. For me, this is a 10 out of 10. I love it, despite the kind of like over drag with the flamethrower stuff. It's still fun. I can watch this. It's a great thing about these films is because they're so action packed.
If you like action, if you like
choreography is great. Obviously I've stated in John Wick 4. I think I watched Kevin Lambert's review earlier. He's right about 3 and 4 where things get kind of ridiculous, but this kind of comes back to
a little bit more grounded.
Yes, a little bit more realistic. She's in the last two John Wick films, it starts to get to like where they're almost immortal. One thing I had to kind of tell Neko because she asked me during this film, I was like,
because he's going,
yeah, does he have armor?
Is this suit bulletproof?
Yeah. So and in John Wick 4, it gets so ridiculous where they're like faster than bullets. I'm like,
who the fuck is he? Is this Neo from the Matrix? So
right. So that's the thing, and that's why I kind of like at least the fourth one kind of like didn't hit me as much as the first 3 John Wick films, but this comes back down to ground. It gets everything back down to normal. Okay, yeah, these people are actually human. They can take punishment and get beat up and hurt, and so I like that aspect far more than like, I'm Superman. I don't know. I can't handle that too much.
How did it go?
Anyway, coming up later today, my debut for the What If segment podcast I'm going to start doing, where I kind of like go back and challenge what franchise or movies would have done differently if they had done something else. And so it's just kind of like creative ideas about what they could have done with some of these movies and franchises that would have made them a little more interesting. So the first one we're doing today is Scream. And I've been thinking about something, a prequel that probably could have been or should have been made that would have made it very more interesting before they kicked off with the Scream film. But hopefully I'll have a panel of people to talk with a little bit when we do that, and they can shoot around their own ideas about that particular franchise. And then tomorrow night, Neko and I are starting a new segment called the Cultureverse Mindset. And why don't you explain to them exactly what that's going to be?
It's just we were shooting around names. That was so funny last night. Culture. It's gonna be fun. It's going to have a little bit of news, a little bit of what happened this day or this month in 1977. This show was released or whatever. It's kind of going to be a look back and current interesting things that are happening in entertainment and music, because we always will pick like a topic, and usually it's like kind of like a serious topic, or
global is a bit more for drama, whereas this is just more news bits.
It's gonna be fun. That's the whole idea, is
weird stuff.
Just to kind of look into, for the longest time, we all, he loves following the drama with all the YouTubers, but this is not going to be about that. fun, I'll give you a fun tidbit.
Yeah, something
Year
about
Zero
ghosts, yeah.
by Ghost came out 13 years ago. And that album was like
Life-changing.
for so when you think, I'm like, man, I wore that fucking album out. So that's what I mean. Stuff like that. We're just gonna talk about like news, fun happenings, interesting facts about like our favorite bands and celebrities. Really, that's all it is. We're not trying to get too deep. We just want to be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks everybody. Give us your thoughts. Have you seen Ballerina? Let us know what you thought. Hit the like and subscribe button. We appreciate all the support that you give us here at the Meltdown Radio Podcast. See you next time. Take care of yourselves.
Peace.
Peace.